Good morning, everyone. We've just had a wonderful tour of this space, which is showcasing another step forward in the progress the city is making in revitalizing this wonderful part of our city. What a tribute this beautiful space is to the efforts of the WeWork team and the efforts of the community to create another positive space for the Central Market and Tenderloin. Working with the Shorenstein family and turning this space into such a hub of creativity and support for our small business community. Kicking us off today is Adam Newman, CEO and co-founder of WeWork, and the lead behind real estate and business development for this fast-growing company and community.
Thank you, Mayor. This has been very nice. Okay. So the two first people that I want to thank is the mayor, because he's actually in the team. Can you fix that for me? Him and the team have been, and his team have been very helpful for us from the beginning. And one of the reasons we had the courage to take this location was because of that support. The second person that this would have not happened without is Carol Shorenstein. I wish she was here, but I don't think she is. But she sold us this building not because she was looking to make a real estate profit. If she could have held it, as you guys know, the real estate market is doing very well right now. She sold us this building because she believed that we would make a difference in Central Market, which we've been starting to, and that's very impressive, and I want to say thank you very much for that. I want to start by telling you guys that initially when WeWork started, WeWork is a 3-year-old company. We were going to do our first location in San Francisco, and the reason we were going to do our first location in San Francisco is because we feel that we share similar values with the city of San Francisco, if it's about collaboration, if it's about openness, if it's about small businesses, and everything that the city and the mayor stand for, and that's why we wanted to make this our first location. Because of technical reasons, it didn't work out, and our first location in San Francisco ended up being the 3rd location in the whole company. WeWork currently today has 10 locations in 3 different cities, 7 in New York, 2 in San Francisco, and 1 in LA, and we're planning to have 17 locations by the end of this year in 7 different cities. We're going to add Austin, Chicago, Boston, DC, and Seattle. And this is, for us, a great move. We're choosing all the cities with momentum, but this city right here is a city that we're starting to really focus on. We have another lease that we're planning to sign, and it's our intention to open as many as 5 buildings, which would bring about 20, over the next year and a half, which would bring as many as 2,500 entrepreneurs and small businesses into this community, and hopefully help them succeed. With a little bit of help from the mayor, we're going to be able to execute on this. Why did we choose Central Market? Central Market was an interesting choice. As I said, we had Carol and the mayor supporting us, so that was the first reason. But the second reason is WeWork is not just a community that helps entrepreneurs be more successful. WeWork is a place where we go into a neighborhood and we help change a neighborhood. So if you look around you, all these young, not only young, but all these successful small businesses and entrepreneurs, and we have some very large companies like Coca-Cola and Hotwire and other companies that this is just a small offshoot for them. But the people you see around you are the kind of people that can change a neighborhood. When we walk downstairs and we care about what we see, and we go and buy in the coffee shop, and we have ideas about new investments and new things that we want to do, we change a neighborhood. And if as a group of people we could prove in San Francisco and to the world that 500 entrepreneurs, which is the number of entrepreneurs you're going to have here, can change a neighborhood, and then a neighborhood can change a city, well then we just did a step towards changing the world, and it's an amazing thing. And that's why we chose Central Market. We're very excited. Thank you all for the support. And I would like to call the mayor to say a few words.
Thank you. Well, let me begin by saying this is exciting on so many levels. But I first of all want to thank Adam for this wonderful opportunity to be here. I want to thank Supervisor Kim as well, because for someone who's worked in the community for so long, to understand and see this transformation when we're always working on policy and on economics, but to really see people excited about living and working in the Tenderloin and in mid-market is incredibly exciting. It actually is an honor because people like Randy Shaw and others who for many years struggled with the challenges that this community had, and that all of us who worked in the nonprofits in our early careers, including Supervisor Jane Kim, we understand this transformation is incredibly tripling on many, many levels. And let me tell you, You know, as you many know, you know that I used to work at Public Works. You know that I wanted to be with my crews to sweep the streets, to earn my reputation with them, because I wasn't about to say that I was going to work in some office and dictate to blue-collar folks that they had to pick up the trash in the city and be proud of their jobs. I was going to be proud with them. And so, right here on Mason and Taylor and Mid-Market was where we spent a lot of time sweeping the streets because we had pride in our city. And we said to ourselves, one day we're going to be joining all of our partners here in something incredibly positive. We didn't know what that was. But Randy was jawboning us in the ear, and Leroy and from the Cadillac and others are saying, we're going to use art, and we're going to use small businesses, and we're going to use that spirit of loving this city, and we're going to do it right here. We didn't know what that meant, but we had the feeling that with the arts leadership, with the theater leadership, with what we wanted to do in our hearts was going to make some change. We're talking about 10, 15 years ago. And with the hotels that were neighbors, and with Glide and all the others, including Original Joe's, because that's also brought us back down and said, after their fire, can we do something yet again here? And that started a little bit of the investments. Then I became city administrator, and we were saying with the arts, how can we invest? How can we take over the porn theaters that were so attractive to negative behavior? How can we work with the residential hotels who oftentimes were receiving people coming back into the community from prison? Be very candid with you. They didn't understand what a living room was. They didn't have living rooms. Streets were their living rooms. And so how do we turn their lives around and bring services and support to this neighborhood? How do we transform grocery stores who we think, given the police reports, were selling drugs under the table and encouraging bad behavior, to say we needed fresh supermarkets for everybody to be here. We needed to collaborate with so many other elements of this. And then got persuaded by Supervisor Kim and many others to say, why don't you take on this opportunity to be the mayor? Campaign office was right across the street in Joyce O's building. It wasn't her building at the time. It was Mr. Addington's building. But they gave me an opportunity to look across as I was on the phone trying to raise money and talk to groups and persuade people. I've often was looking across this theater, say, Carol owns the theater. What's happening on top? That's such a beautiful place. And it was in such a strategic place that we had spent so many hours. Why can't we get that filled with people? And at that time, I thought maybe the ballet would take over or some performing arts would be on this, not knowing. And so when Joyce took over the building, and I had dinner last year with Carol Shorenstein, and I said, what's going on above your theater? Can we as a city do something about it? And of course, before that time, when I had the campaign office there, I did tell everybody during the campaign, look, I had the windows open. I saw everything in this area. I heard everything, and I smelled everything in this area. And I said, if I'm lucky enough, if this city wants to have me as a mayor, I'm going to work with Supervisor Kim and do something about this and really make positive changes, not to move people out, to transform lives. That's what we do in San Francisco. We don't move people out. That's the old way of doing it. That's the old redevelopment. What we need to do is invest in people and take our spirit and transform people's lives and include them in the transformation of our city. That's the right way to do it. That's what we learned for many years, protecting low-income residents in some of the SROs that Randy and I used to represent together as housing tenants, tenant advocates and tenant lawyers. That's what Jane Kim did when she worked in her nonprofits before becoming supervisor. So we all share this backdrop. So when we made a commitment that if we were lucky enough to be in positions to help, we would help and we would do it the right way. Began with some artwork on the Original Joe's to bring us back. Began with taking over some theaters, and we worked Grants for the Arts to give some support to Burning Man and to some of the art organizations through Grants for the Arts to take over with the the Arts Center that's down there now, and some of the other small efforts that were going on. But this is big. This is big because it brings together, as Adam, as you described, 200 businesses, creative businesses, half to two-thirds of who were never even here in the city, to brainstorm, to create, to support job creation, to build from small to medium to large, happening right here in the Tenderloin, right here in Mid-Market. And we get to complement it with all of our expertise in running the city and bless it and encourage it to grow. And I have already been introduced to some of the creative minds and brains here already at work. I've already got ideas you're turning. PartyCom, I got some nonprofits for you. They need to have Imager and all the others. They're just very excited to be here. We got the Renoir Hotels here. They're exciting what they're doing on Market Street as well. Market Street, it's already transforming in our very eyes. And because it is, and because we have so many great partners doing this, and because of these types of hubs that are created for other people to come in from all over the world, literally, not just in the United States. I think people from all over the world will come here and feel they can start a business and grow and then exchange and connect up with all the successful technology businesses. You know, we have 1,849 technology businesses in the city today. That'll probably change by tomorrow. But they employ, and I think you're going to make you're going to be the reason why it changes, and I can't keep up with the numbers. But right now, Supervisor, 44,429 employees. It's still growing. And after today's announcement, I think the office gets to go back and change those numbers for me so I can preach the other numbers. But it's an incredible part of our economy. As you know, I've been focused on jobs because I really believe that people can get these jobs and be a part of the economy. And we're going to make sure that whether it's big, medium, or small, that not only they survive and start here, but my job and the job of the supervisors will work with me together to create the conditions to sustain this so that Mr. Temple at the Chronicle can never use the word bubble. He's always trying to get me on a bubble. Is this going to break? Is this going to burst? It will not burst if our creativity leads our hearts about sharing economy, about people that want to be part of this economy, of all walks of life, all languages, all cultures, all economic levels, getting to participate. And when you have a hub like this that can welcome in someone, one or two person who has an idea, but doesn't know and can't afford insurance, can't afford the expensive rent that we're already seeing in and around where all the other business levels are establishing, but wants to start with a great idea and a great way of sharing those ideas with other people, this is where it starts. This is why it's so incredible we have these hubs of creative small business support. And it's a model that I think is going to work with the sharing economy that we're trying to create in the city. And the sharing economy doesn't mean it's just for small businesses. The sharing economy means that Mr. Benioff and all the other large companies get to use their philanthropy to support the Burgoynian communities that we're all part of. That's what I vision as a sharing economy for the city. And I think it's just the DNA that San Francisco has. That's why we're beating out perhaps so many other cities for Adam's vision, that we do it here because the spirit is here. And it's going to always be reflected in the joint approach that the board and I have about supporting people who then turn around and support communities and build stronger communities. That's a philosophy. That's always been what I thought San Francisco was about. And as long as I'm the mayor of this city, I'm going to be working to build strong communities. Having said that, as Mid-Market transforms itself in the ways in which we're seeing now that are so supportive and successful in transforming lives, we're going to now start moving towards the Tenderloin. We're going to connect the Tenderloin up. That's another big challenge. I don't want to see those stories where the down and out are only the people in the Tenderloin. They're no longer down and out. They're uplifting. They're going to be part of this. We have people who lived in the Tenderloin that are beginning to see the work that's created with their lives, so that we bring hope in the Tenderloin as we're bringing hope in the Bayview, on 3rd Street with the 3rd and 3rd. There's just so many positive things going on. We just have to connect it all up, and you're going to be a great part of that help. That's why we're going to help you make sure PG&E brings the power here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So Marilee gave quite an intro on the supervisor's work in this neighborhood. I think the other thing we could point out is that WeWork has chosen to make this their second location in San Francisco, but also their second location in the supervisor's district. So I think that's quite a testament to her district.
The mayor reminded me a little bit of our history. The first time I met the mayor was probably about 11 years ago when he was at DPW and I was a youth community organizer in Chinatown. And we used to bring out youth to volunteer once a month to clean up the neighborhood, to promote civic engagement and promote young people to get involved in their community. And one of the ways that we did that was through that. So Ed used to come with his truck and bring us brooms and dustpans. And it's really nice to kind of come full circle to what engaging in a community and neighborhood means and what it means to be grassroots about those efforts. The first policy that actually the mayor and I worked on when we appointed him was the mid-market and tenderloin tax exclusion. Policies like that are challenging and tough. I knew that we needed to rejuvenate and revitalize this corridor. It had the highest commercial vacancy rate of any corridor in San Francisco. So we had a ton of space. We had all these transit lines. We had all this infrastructure, but we didn't have businesses coming in. But one of my hesitations was the fact that there is a community that has always lived here in the Tenderloin, in Mid-Market, and South of Market. And the last thing I wanted to do was push out folks that had always lived here, that have been improving this neighborhood on a daily basis over the last couple of decades. But the mayor and I made a commitment that we would do something that would be different, that we would help revitalize this area without displacing existing communities, but we would do it in partnership with them. And so it's great to have folks like Randy Shaw, who's here, that have been an activist in this neighborhood for decades, working to fight for low-income housing. It's awesome and wonderful to have Joe here. He is actually one of THC's hotel organizer. He now lives on the San Cristina on Market Street. You'll see him walking around. We actually passed him by as we were coming here, and I asked him to come because I think it's incredibly important that we do this in partnership with folks that have always been here. But small businesses are going to be an important part of what is going to help strengthen this neighborhood. And we have Keith here, who's going to be opening up an artisanal beer hall. Am I on Geary? On Turk and Taylor. So I hope you all go and support him. We have Hooker's Sweet Treats. Their owners live in the Tenderloin. They make the best chocolate and caramels in the Tenderloin in small batches on Jones, and you can also buy them at Sight Glass down on 6th Street. I actually moved to this neighborhood as part of my commitment to this corridor as well. I thought it was important to live on 6th Street. I live 2 blocks away from this place, and to be someone that walks up and down Market Street and 6th Street as someone that represents this area. I get to represent one of the oldest parts of San Francisco. I always say that, the South of Market, the Tenderloin, Treasure Island, but in some ways I feel like I'm representing the young part of San Francisco, the part that is dynamic, the part that is growing, and the part that is really developing and evolving in an exciting way. And what I hope we can do, and what I challenge everyone here to do, is to really think about how we can build this dynamic community that is going to remain truly diverse, that becomes safer, that can get beautified, but that can be a home for folks that are tech workers, but also working class families, our folks that live in our SRO hotels as well. And one thing I'll welcome you all to do is that our office volunteers for a program that came out of the Boys and Girls Club, La Voz Latina, and some of our community-based organizations in the Tenderloin. They were tired of the fact that we have the highest density of children in the Tenderloin, but that we didn't have enough public safety efforts in the neighborhood. So they decided we're going to volunteer every day. From 2:30 to 3:30, we're going to be on the corners, and we're going to be on patrol while kids walk back and forth from schools and the after-school programs and on those sorts of things. And so our office is committed to being out there once a month on the 3rd Friday, and we would love to have you there. It's actually just a short commitment, and it's actually a lot of fun. Last month, we counted over 70 kids on just one corner that we stood at for 45 minutes. It's great to be out there, and it's great to be a part of making this the wonderful neighborhood that it is. So we welcome you to District 6. We welcome you to Mid-Mark and Tenderloin. I'm really excited to work with everyone here. Thank you.
So last but not least, we have Miguel, the co-founder of WeWork, who I actually first learned about WeWork through an article in Alumni Magazine, since we're both Oregon Ducks. And he has really grown a passion for design and architecture, and this is one of his favorite buildings, I'm sure. So let's hear some more from him.
First, I just want to say thank you to Supervisor Kim and to for coming out. We appreciate it. But the best thing for me, I come to this from a background of design and architecture, but also entrepreneurialism. And so the moment that is the best for me is after putting in so much work into these spaces and thinking about every square inch and how to build it, how to make it work, is when all fill the space up and really make it come alive. So I feel lucky to have you. I feel excited about our staff who's here to operate the building, but more than anything, I'm excited about the brave effort that you guys have made to come to this location to fulfill our vision of transforming this building, and as Adam and as everyone has said, to be a part of change in this neighborhood. And we look forward to a great future. This is just the beginning, and hopefully we'll all continue more and more and more. So thank you guys very much. Thank you for coming.
So with that, I think it's time to cut the ribbon.
Nice. All right. Look at that.
On the count of 3. Okay. 1, 2.